My name is John Metcalf, and I'm here to educate you a little bit more about my good friend, the cannabis plant. Have you ever wondered why it is they made it illegal? And have you ever wondered why it is we never heard throughout history before that this plant was something that was here and not have a part of our lives? Well, maybe after today, and me teaching you how to plant your own cannabis plant, grow it, you might have a better appreciation. Some of the education that I sprinkle in are teaching you how to sow and plant a cannabis seed. Now to do this, it's going to be rather simple. You're going to need some sort of pot. For me, I'm using fabric nursery bags from AC Infinity. I happen to be an AC Infinity dealer, so I get these rather cheap. The bag for 50 of them cost me about $5. They're reusable. The good thing about a fabric bag is that it's a permeable membrane, so it allows for excess water to run out of the soil or media that you're using, and it also allows for air to go into that media and for roots to expand past its pot chamber, so there is no root bound conditions. The next thing you'll need is some media or soil. For myself, I use Coast of Maine organic soil. Now this is their seed starter or sprout blend. You can find it at most Aubuchon. Sometimes they have it at Walmart. It's a really great, low nutrient dense mix, which allows for seedlings and sprouts to kind of get their roots and not end up getting nutrient burn or having too much excess nitrogen in them and causing root rot. The next thing you'll need is your seeds that you're going to sow. For myself, I'll be using a variety I created myself. Now what this is Jack Herer mixed with Ken Dog Girl Scout cookie. It's a hybrid that I've made. Now what makes it a hybrid is that it takes classical sativa and indica growth patterns out of the cannabis plant that you would find normally in nature. And it tries to use the best of both traits to create something new or hybridize. So this is really simple. You're going to take one of your nursery pots, you're going to open it up. As you're opening it up, you're going to put some soil into it. After you put some soil into it, you're going to wet the media with some water. That was the last thing I forgot that I had that you'll need. And then after that, you'll be able to sow your seed. Leave it out in the sun for a while. All those wonderful rays coming down from the sun, those photons, will excite the soil and start to get those microbes, bacteria within the soil to start to break down all the nutrients that are in there from organic material, which is dead material, and your plant will start to feed off that material after it germinates. Now what's going to happen too is that while it's sitting in that soil all wet, the seed is going to start to saturate and plump up, and it will actually expand to the point where it will push past the germoplasm barrier and start to sprout a taproot. That taproot will then push up, and those first set of leaves are cotyledons that will come out through the soil, will guide those first true set of leaves into the sun, and it is something that's beautiful and gone on for centuries. And I recommend anybody that wants to have any connection with nature to get their hands on some plant seeds and get their hands in some soil. It's also known too that gardening or playing with soil is actually a natural antidepressant. So it's another wonderful thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a few handfuls of soil here. I'm doing this outside so I don't have to worry about the mess. I'm just going to fill this thing up about 3/4 of the way full of soil. Real simple. I like using Coast of Maine organic soil because it's traceable. You get to know everything that's in it. If you wanted to, I'm sure you could call the facility, even let them know the lot number, and they'll let you know the specific actual nutrient density test that they did. The other thing about it too is that it's local. I enjoy using things that come from a like biome rather than purchasing soil from halfway around the world or from an unexpected or unknown way of processing. For me, there's a lot of synthetics out there, there's a lot of variables, there's a lot of things that can go on while you're putting things in your body, and I just try to minimize that as much as possible, as well as be educated on what it is that I'm using to create things that go into my body. So this happens to be just one of the cleaner soils that I like to use. You can use the soil from your yard, but again, I live in a city, so be careful about that. There's a lot of contaminants, there's a lot of pollutants, and there's a lot of dysregulation and a lot of misinformation when it comes to the way that you should be taking care of your soil and your health when it comes to the soil around you. So now that we have our soil in our pot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some natural spring water. I hate plastic bottles, but it seems to be the way of the world because it's cheap to manufacture, and people love cheap manufacturing. Nobody likes taking the extra hassle or the extra dollar to make sure that things are done right and that our future and our future generations are taken care of. So we're going to take that nice microplastic filled spring water that God knows where it came from, right? And we're going to saturate that soil till we get a good runoff. We're going to find that we'll find runoff from the bag just because it's a fabric bag, but we're going to fill it up with water, and you'll see in just a second when I go to pick it up. All that water I just poured in there, only a little bit starting to come out now. So that'll be good right there. We'll let that water soak into the soil real quick. While we do that, I'm going to grab just one seed. I like to sow one seed per pot. You can do two if you would like. Some people do three, but you're going to have to make sure to seed it down or kind of wean it down to just one plant per pot before transplant. Now, this is easy. What I do is I just take my pinky and I stick my pinky into the pot, about knuckle deep, throw the seed in, cover it with the soil. Just planted a cannabis plant. It's really simple and straightforward. This is something that your ancestors have done for generations. It's also something that George Washington stated that every individual should have is hemp. Now, just some more information. This is going to take about 3 to 4 days for that seed to germinate and open. Another 3 to 4 days for it to poke out of the soil. Once it pokes out of the soil, you're going to want to make sure to water it daily. Now, right now, all you're going to have to do is just put a plastic bag over this to keep humidity and moisture retention inside, and you'll see that it will start to germinate and come up. This will be good for about 2 to 4 weeks worth of food for the plant, so you won't have to feed it. But at that point, once you start seeing roots poking out the bottom of the bag there, you're going to want to transplant it into a bigger pot. Now that's the basic necessities on growing your own cannabis. From there, you can take it in that single pot and grow it as big as you want, depending as long as you have nutrients going to it. I hope you guys reach out to me if you have more information or want to know more, and take care.